informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Sincere apologies for starting behind schedule. Couple of technical issues to start out here, but we're good now. And good morning to you and welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. First edition for the month of November 2025. Happy new month to you and welcome to the new month. And of course, we're rounding off the year gradually and we're counting down to the election in the state. Today is the 3rd of November, so we have 5 more days till the D-Day. Are you ready? Have you gotten your voter card? Collection ended yesterday. And yesterday night, Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo spoke extensively on why his cash motivation is only for ward members, whom he has charged with the responsibility of breaking the jinx of apathy in the state. In his words, why do we keep hovering around 20%? You go to the north, it is over 40%. You go to the west, it is over 30%. But in the southeast generally, not just Anambra State, voter participation has hovered around 20% for the longest time. He thinks that's a problem. Irrationally thinking that's actually a problem that needs to be tackled head on. And of course, over the weekend also, President of America, Donald Trump, said Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. He went on to say that if care is not taken, America would be forced to step in and do something. As a matter of fact, he is saying something in the realm of declaring war and all of that. And now the big question is, Nigeria is a sovereign nation. How then does another nation come in without being asked to take care of certain issues in the country? The PDP also didn't have it easy. Unfortunately, over the weekend, it was suspensions and counter suspensions here and there. And a lot of Nigerians have been asking, is there ever going to be peace in the fold of the PDP? Why does it look like it is every day one trouble? Are they ever going to have a united house, especially as you see that the party is fast becoming empty? Members, especially stakeholders, talk about governors who got into office on the platform of the PDP are fast moving to the APC. I wanted to say other parties, but then the truth is they are mostly moving to the APC. As a matter of fact, any governor that has resigned his membership of the PDP has moved to the APC. Joyetiri is set to move today. Yes, he resigned, but he hadn't told us where he's going to. We understand that he's set to go to the APC today. Now, all of those matters we get to look at on today's edition of The Polity. I am Chisom Chinedu, and the two gentlemen I do this with every other day are somewhere in the building. They'll be here with us in just a bit. I'll go straight to telling you what the front pages of the papers say. The Nigerian Tribune is here, the Vanguard, the Guardian, and the Punch newspapers. Now, I'll start with telling you what the front page of the Nigerian Tribune says. The banner headline here is Country of Particular Concern, What It Means for Nigeria. This is on pages 3 and 4 of the Tribune. The riders here are economic sanctions, international isolation, ban on IMF, World Bank loans, others. Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab designated entities of particular concern in 2023. Tinubu to meet Trump over Christian genocide claim. That's from the presidency. U.S. should assist with technology to combat insecurity. That's from Kwankwaso. Tinubu should convene meeting of past Nigerian leaders. That's from Lamido. Above the nameplate of the paper, troops kill terrorists, arrest 20, rescue 17 kidnapped victims on page 26. On page 6, man projects a 3.1% real growth, 10.2% contribution to GDP in 2026. Calls for approval of 1 trillion naira stabilization fund, expansion of BOI capital base. CPPE endorses 15% fuel import duty, says policy will catalyze local refining, industrial growth. This is on page 7. PDP crisis, uncertainty over control of National Secretariat. That's on page 23. Anxious stakeholders, staff members fear possible clash. And Tinubu's economic reforms essential for Nigeria's growth. Okpeblo says that on page 25. And we go over to the Vanguard, where we see the banner headline also being on the biggest story that broke over the weekend. Talk about Trump's declaration of Nigeria as a nation of particular concern. It says Trump outrage over plan to attack Nigeria. That's on page 5. The riders are, we are working assiduously with the Americans to combat banditry, terrorism in Nigeria. The federal government has answered back. U.S. envoy Watts invites Nicki Minaj to discuss protection of persecuted Christians in Nigeria. Insecurity doesn't distinguish religious, ethnic, or political beliefs. That's from Kwankwaso. Tinubu is ahead of orchestrated game in America, says Onanuga. We are preparing for action in Nigeria, U.S. War Secretary. Also, 2027 battle for PDP's soul deepens as factions dig in on page 9. INEC challenges before Ampeton by Jega. That's on page 14. This is all about Anambra election. And on page 15, Soludo gains momentum in Ekusigo, Nnewi South. Gas policy under threat as flaring worsens. That's on page 19. Let's go to The Guardian, where we see the banner headline, Trump's warning unsettles Nigeria, raises concerns over religion sovereignty. That's on page 6. How DSS aborted Otomi's aberrative shadow cabinet through legal process. That's on page 22. MBC train derails 189th time, 3 days after resumption. That's on page 20. That's on page 7. Resident doctors, FG clash over 48 billion naira arrears as strike paralyzes hospitals nationwide. On page 6. On page 20, NUJ decries surge in attacks, impunity against journalists. That story is on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, banner headline, CPC blacklist 12 governors or 12 Nigerian governors. Other officials may face U.S. sanctions. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. It has riders, government officials, judges risk asset freeze in new U.S. law. Tinubu, U.S. VP may meet amid tensions. And on page 7, coup controversy, Silva's brother. Driver still in custody. On page 7. Student loan applicants hit 1 million. Nelfund has that to say. On page 3. Also on page 3, doctors dispute FG's 11.9 billion naira payout. Strike continues. NDLEA arrests musician, uncovers Lagos illicit drug factory or laboratory now on page 5. And Diri joins APC today, cites Bielsa's interest. That's on page 8. And those are the stories you'd find on the front pages today. And we're going to start looking at them individually. 3 of the biggest being the fact that Anambra state election is about 5 days away. And presently, as we speak, INEC chairman Joash Ampito, Professor Joash Ampito, is in the state himself. He touched down yesterday and he's got a lot to say about how ready INEC is for this election. Also yesterday night, the governor had a media chat with some media houses and he said a lot of things. He addressed a lot of concerns, of course, raised by these people, talking about the security situation of the state, what his government has done so far, what I say to make it sensible or logical enough that Anambarians would vote him in for a second tenure. He also did explain himself. I'll get to play the audio clip from what he said, like you hearing it from the horse's mouth. He tried to explain himself, or he did explain himself, concerning the allegations of vote buying. He said that the money he is promised is for party ward members who he has charged with the responsibility of the door-to-door canvassing. He said, well, the state might belong to a particular party, but that, in his own perception, doesn't mean that the election is won. He gave instances of how Barack Obama had canvassers who went house to house, bringing out old people to go vote and then returning them safely back to their houses, all in a bid to make sure that the jinx of apathy is broken. And so for him, the entire idea is to break the jinx of apathy. Also, the biggest story over the weekend was American President Donald Trump declaring Nigeria a country of particular concern, and also the PDP crisis. I mean, it was from one suspension to another. Suspend me, I suspend you, all on paper, of course. And the end of the day, one thing is sure, PDP is further balkanized. I am just wondering, how far will the PDP, not just in elections happening off cycle in some parts of the country, but generically 2027 might seem far, but it's just by the corner. And of course, Dewey is set to join the APC today. All of this we get to look at. Also, just to remind you that we are live on social media. On Facebook is at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. If you just joined us, this is the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. I am Chisom. Chinedu Franklin Ebuka is here, and Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki is also here. Good morning, Franklin.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning to everybody listening to us, and of course for us to look at developments in the past. Should I say 72 hours? Because we've seen a PDP crisis deepening. We've seen INEC chairman coming to Anambra State to ensure that things are on track ahead of Anambra Guba. We've also seen the police deploying helicopter for area surveillance ahead of the Anambra election. And I saw someone's comment on social media. He said when Anambra was crying about insecurity, nobody deployed helicopter. Now it's about election. And we got to know that the Nigerian police force has a helicopter that can be used for area surveillance. So he was trying to compare the attachment we have to election and then to the lives of the common persons. So let me rest my case at this point.
All right then, Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in Anambra. Good morning, in Onitsha. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure. And this is the week, the decisive week, where in Anambra we decide their destiny in the next 4 years. And we've seen everything. Campaigns comes to an end on Thursday midnight. And we see how that will pounds out, and then all road leads to Anambra from everywhere in the country. And it tells you quite a lot you should know about this coming election. And we are ready. We are prepared, just like different organizations. INEC has said it's prepared. Leads, they say they are prepared. The political parties are saying they are prepared. And I believe also Udala 104.7 FM is also prepared in every corner, in every angle. And we are going to see to the end of this show. And we also thank God Almighty for His mercy. And remember, we are still relishing the brand new months. It's still the month of November. And we thank you for being there for us.
All right, then let's go straight into the business of the day. Professor Joash Ampito has made a couple of statements. But before I go over to his statement, I think I would start with the things that the 001 of Anambra State said yesterday. I am going to play you sound bites of some of the things he said. One of them being his response or his personal explanation of the allegations of vote buying against him. We were all here when he promised ₦1 million towards where his party wins, and also promised 10 million to local governments, and said even the ones who now emerge top 3 are going to be getting 5 million, 3 million, and 1 million. So this is what he had to say yesterday night in explanation of that move that he made, Tony.
People, they say a woman, the day I commissioned people to donate it, and they were trying to distribute 2.6 million seedlings. I come back to it. What we said to our people, I talked about this voter apathy. What we're contesting, not against, like I said, there are opponents, but there's no opposition. We're contesting against us, so we don't need to buy in. These are communities that are contributing money to give to us. We're going to give them money. That's ridiculous to talk about vote buying. Let me tell you, what we're trying to give our people is an incentive, okay? Our party structures, not the public, or that if you vote, you'll get. No. It is the party structures that will say, listen, ideally, you need to pay them to go knocking on doors, have canvassers, your party men, your party structure. You incentivize them in whatever, everywhere in the world that happens, okay? You have staffs who go on campaigning with their own cars, they're fueling, whatever. And we're saying, listen, it's not enough to say we are winning. It's not enough. We will win, okay? If the votes count. If the votes are counted, whether you hold it in the midnight, anytime, we'll win landslide. That's not the issue. But can we actually begin to motivate this guy? Don't just go and say, there are 500 registered voters, we won, we had 100, the others have 2 and 1, so we won. Okay, out of that, that's 100 is still just 20%. Why is Southeast stuck at 20%, 18%, 15%, and so on? So we are motivating party structures to say, go walk the extra mile. Ideally, we should pay you beforehand, but we're not going to pay you. But if you now work extra hard and mobilize voters and go to the polls, we might be able, almost by way of reimbursing your expenses, which is happening.
Okay, so Tony, you already heard the bulk of what he said, and in some part of that interview, he also decried that the fact that in 2023, out of the 2 million plus voters from the Southeast extraction, we were only able to get about 500,000 plus after the election, the 2023 presidential election. And so for him, the war is against voter apathy and not against opposition. Do you truly agree with this perspective?
I think I have made an analysis on this, and then what I said was actually close to what the governor was actually saying. And I remember the very day we brought this issue, and we keep talking about it. And I did say, but I think Franklin then was saying the place where he made a very statement matters. Not necessarily, or not that the statement was wrong, but he's concerned about where he made the statement. Now, I think we have got some guests who made this known to us that the rallies organized were for parties, organized by the parties. It's just their own thing. And I listened to the governor yesterday, where somebody was saying that if the members were going to incentivize, they're also voters. But he made us understand that if you are a member of a political party, you are mandated by the law to vote for your party without any form of inducement or giving incentives or whatever. Anytime you do anything outside that, it becomes anti-party activity. But it's just announcing price of those who will do well more than each other. And just like I asked one of the guests on Saturday, and he said, it is quite different from an exam. You've taught different classes And you now announce to them, you guys are going to exam. Anybody that comes first in average performance takes this as a prize money. And when I was listening to the governor yesterday, he was saying this was a prize money, not individual money, not money given to members of the voters, as the case we are. A prize money for more like a competition. You know, in any competition, there is always a prize money. But people have issues where he said it, that he said it in the open, that these are things you look inwards and then probably discuss it internally without announcing it in the open. And then he even came out to say announcing it in the open does not in any way conflict with any known law. We've read section 122, and section 122 of the Electoral Act also stipulates or provides that it has to do with bribery and inducement, saying that directly or indirectly induces a voter. But he said what he did is giving or announcing a prize money for ward, not a voter. Announcing a prize money for ward, and this ward is for the political party ward, not for public. That's what he said. He did, and he said there is nothing stopping him from making such announcement where he made it. If you have problems with where he made the announcement, the question is, has he contradicted or has he contravened any law? So what is it that he cannot announce their party decisions in the public? That if party decides that this will be done, what stops him from announcing such decisions in the public where it is meant for ward that comes top, a prize money, more like a competition, that it has nothing to do with inducing any voter? He didn't say the money is meant for voters, and it's something that will come after result must have been announced, not at the moment of during the period of electioneering campaign. So he has clarified what he said. Before now, people are begging for clarity. Come and tell us if you're actually talking about vote buying or you are not talking about vote buying, because one thing we know is that vote buying has become a menace. It is something that is witnessed in almost every election in this country. There's no election that has come and gone and is devoid of vote buying. And just like one of the former commissioners of information in Anambra State said, that parties, majority of top parties contending for this, they are all inclusive in this vote buying. We have 16 political parties, but I can tell you that the real contenders, I think we have just 2 parties that are real contenders in my own valuation, in my own evaluation.
Put that caveat.
Yes, that's what I said. I'm not calling any political party's name. I'm not calling anybody. And when you talk about contenders, these are people that have demonstrated intent when it comes to winning this. The others are just there for being their sake. But I have always said, just like, this is election week, so we'll be very, very mindful of the statements we make. We wouldn't want to do anything that will undermine the outcome or be preemptive to the election itself, because all eyes everywhere in the world. The EU is here, there's European Union, the AU, they are here, African Union, in fact international observers, many inter-society organizations internationally, they're all here in Anambra State. So we'll be very careful, mindful of our statement. All we ask is that let this election be credible, fair in every sense, and at the same time be transparent, where everybody has equal playing ground.
Okay, so let me add something to what Tony said, because okay, yesterday, let me put the context first, because Governor of Anambra State had a media chat yesterday, and that media chat was basically meant for television stations. 4 of them were invited for that very media chat, and they had a conversation. He was in Oka. In fact, all of them came to Oka for that very media chat. So lots of questions came up, and there were several questions about that promise he made. If my memory serves me correctly, all the moderators asked questions on that, and they kept, he kept responding. They kept refiring, telling you that is of great concern to anybody who understands the political terrain and who wants us to have an election that is not highly monetized. Now, but let me put this thing out. Last time I said, irrespective of who did it or who is going to do it, what is wrong is wrong. How do I mean? Now, the governor gave several explanations trying to explain that away. But I must tell you, those moderators, they were not satisfied with the answers gotten. They were not, because they say how they're concerned, but they can't continue to belabor it. And for me, we cannot continue to belabor it. What it is what it is. Now, look at this issue here. You don't necessarily need to promise people money to motivate voters. You don't necessarily. Let me tell you, if we get our acts together, if we do our things the way they're supposed to be, people will be motivated to go out and vote. The moment we begin to deliver good governance, or what we can call better governance, deliver governance according to the way people expect it, it becomes so open. People get to know about what you are doing. People get to feel governance at the grassroots level. People will become motivated to take part in the election, knowing that the moment we begin to organize elections that are very credible, parties begin to respect their laws, and we begin to have a sane society, there's no way people will not be motivated to join in deciding who gets to govern them. So the issue of saying that is about trying to motivate voters, I think we should take that away, because the only way to motivate voters is not by promising anybody money, whether it was promised to the party structure or the voters directly. I know in this country there were times where we condemn parties
frankly, I didn't hear where he said
who go for campaigns.
Sorry, I didn't hear where he said
gifts.
Sorry, I didn't hear where he said it's to motivate voters. I didn't hear that. I think you're the one putting it.
No,
I didn't hear that.
No, he says it's to motivate.
I didn't hear that. You're the one
the
putting
party.
that.
No, he said it's to motivate the party to go extra mile.
I think now you put it better.
No, what I said is whether it's meant to motivate voters or to motivate party structure, it does not add up for me. You know why? Now, if you let's say you are giving money to a party structure to go, I'm paying them for them to go extra mile and mobilize voters. And from your statement, he said that party men are bound by the law of the party for them to do what? To work for the party.
No, to vote for the party.
To vote for the
not
party.
to work for the party.
So are they not bound to work for the party to win an election?
Now, you ask a very valid question. Most times we must put context to this. One, party members are bound by the law to vote for the party, but to work for the party is not bound. Is not something that you place on them. Anybody who does any work must be given a reward, anywhere, anytime. Most times we must not, just like I've always said, Democratic Party in United States of America, Republican Party in USA, they pay party structures to work for the party. Most times, let's not just sound so idealistic.
The people are talking about who pay party members to work is because
the party pays.
I'm not saying the party pays. You're talking about idealistic.
Yes.
You are talking about US, where we know that individuals let's assume the chief executive does not fund the party. You're talking about a party where we know that this is a party. No one person is known to fund the party.
You're not talking about issue of fund. Where it's coming from.
No one person is known to dictate what happens in the party. That is liberalism. Party is run the way it's supposed to be run. So anybody you are asking to do work for the party must be paid. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. So if you're talking about the idealistic thing that happens in the US, we should also embrace the idealistic thing that should happen in Nigeria. What I'm saying in essence is this: no matter how we try to, give reasons to say that this is within the law, no law was broken. This. What I'm saying in essence is, we are trying to set a bad precedent that in the future is going to hurt generations that are going to come.
Let me make this thing, because sometimes our own role here is to educate the people. We are talking about one thing, but I know you are taking it to the other side. Just like I said earlier on, there are what we call campaign workers. They are members of the political party everywhere in the world. Let me say this thing. In US, field organizers and canvassers, they are paid $15 to $25 per hour, sometimes with bonuses for performance. That is UX. I'm going to come to the area of funding that you talked about, where the money comes from. Then state campaign directors or media coordinators get about $3,000 down to $7,000 per month. Volunteers, which are usually unpaid, but often get stipend for meal, transport, and accommodations. At times, the party puts a prize money for these campaign workers that have been either put in clusters. The person that comes first.
I want to ask you a question, Tony.
Yes, I don't know if you understand.
Had been coming from a candidate, not the incumbent, would it have been interpreted differently?
I think it would have been neglected. Nobody would have thought about it. The issue is this. I have said it most times. You have to reason deep. These things are done by political parties. Remember, I said this the other day, and I gave instances where Zulum and Ganduje, they made it public during their rallies. And people did not pick offense on that. What I'm saying is this: maybe I'm not here to say maybe it sounds sanctimonious, but the problem here is I think where Franklin has taken the discourse a bit further is where would the money come from? Let's leave what the prize money announced, and there is nothing wrong with that. But it's concerned now, just like he mentioned, where would the money come from? Because in all these places we are talking about now, like United States of America, where they pay these people, they pay what they are called is campaign workers, political party campaign workers. They pay them. They are now announced prize money for competition. But where, just like he said, their funding is transparent. We are members of the political party either contribute, and at the same time people donate openly to the campaign structure, to the campaign management. The campaign management looks into it and say, you know what, any of these structures that comes first, we are going to announce the prize money, or they announce the prize money. There are ones I can give you records. If you want, I can go out and give you records of different prize monies. But here in Nigeria, just like in their own clime, everything is transparent, everything is traced, everything is made in a way that it is in compliance with the law. There is compliance unit. INEC, I don't think if INEC has a compliance unit that monitors some of these activities and makes sure that every electioneering activity is totally in compliance with electoral laws. I don't know if they have any compliance unit. That is one. So if he's talking about where would the money come, it becomes a different discourse altogether. But what, I don't know, I don't want to call names. I don't want to call political parties, because if you call them, if you call a political party, they will say you are attached to that party or you like that party. But these things, party pay their workers and announce competition prizes amongst them. But where would the money come is a different topic.
Okay, so let me also add this, because I know that in Nigeria we have a culture or system that whereby if we are approaching the elections, political parties get to set up their campaign structure, a campaign council, and then they begin to set up different structures that are going to work for this very party, whether at the ward level, local government level, state level. These things are established. Now, because if we are trying to analyze this very thing, trying to see the moral aspect of it or the legal aspect of it. Now, Tony said that party members are bound by law to vote for the party and also work for the party. I don't know any known law in Nigeria that mandates party members to work for the party and vote for the party. Rather, it's a moral burden. It's a moral and political burden on you as a member of the party to work for your party, support your party, and ensure that your party emerges victorious. Because when your party emerges victorious, it's victory for all of you. That's what I know. But if you're going to go by any law that you are mandated, now if you now look at the party laws will tell you that there are certain things that party members are going to get involved in, and it's going to be, and those things are going to be termed anti-party. And the ones who begin to get involved in those things, of course, the party hammer has to fall on you. Now, my point is this: if party members are morally bound, politically bound to work for the party, there are several ways you can motivate them to work for the party, knowing that victory is for all of them. By the way, in our climb, how do we motivate party members? In most cases, we have seen that people who work for party emergence, how are they rewarded? They are rewarded by either by the virtue of money made available for them to prosecute the election. From there, they take their money, or some of them are rewarded with appointments by the time the party must have emerged. So, like I said, that this issue is not about who is wrong or who is right. Now, if at the end of the day, all the CSOs we know that are into election management, they have kicked against this, politicians have hit against it, then, but people who are within the circles of, alignment with Abuka, they haven't found anything wrong in it. Fine and good. But the problem is, like I keep on saying, I'm looking about tomorrow. Because the table might surely turn tomorrow, and some other person will get involved in this very act. Would our stand remain the same? And then what will be the consequences on the generations to come when it comes to election management? Don't forget that the time we began to have this issue of vote buying was not with us by 1999. Somebody introduced it, and it's been eating deep into us, and we are concerned about it now. Before it was 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and we have seen people going as far as 10,000, 15,000, and even taking the notch higher. So if we keep on introducing things that are very controversial, time will come when all of us are going to go into our cubicle and begin to cry. If we had known, we shouldn't have told this very way.
All right, then, let's go over to other election matters concerning Anambra State. Professor Joash Ampriton has promised that election materials are going to be in the polling units as early as 7 a.m. It means that loopholes around logistics may have been tightened. That's what he's promising. Do you believe and agree that this promise can be kept? Because he also directed that collation of results must take place in the presence of party agents, and that results must align precisely with data captured by the beavers. He also reiterated the next collaboration with political parties, security agencies, civil society organizations, and the media, all in a bid to bring about a transparent, free, and fair election. Tony, I was asking you if you trust this oath or this promise that electoral materials are going to be at the polling units as early as 7 a.m.
It's not just by mere announcement. Talk is cheap. It's one thing for anybody to say anything. But what we look at is the capacity to fulfill that which you have said. And we also look at antecedents, precedents, how that had happened in the past. We look at those things. We've seen INEC faltering, especially in areas of logistics. And these things are manifest in every election. They usually go for, call it ad hoc or contract workers during this election period. The vehicles that will convey polling materials to the polling units, we have 5,718 of them. These vehicles, have they been procured or hired in advance? What is the state of this vehicle? The engine, the service capacity, let me put it that way, of these vehicles. How many of them will break down while on the road? How many of these vehicles are put on standby? The problem is not about the failure of these materials or tools for election. But the issue is, what is the alternative put in place in case one fails? And what is the response time? Because it's one thing for you to have an alternative, but when you have a longer response time, it undermines the process. So let's assume a vehicle, because I am aware that these materials will be in every local government at the election eve, that is on the 7th of November. All the sensitive materials must have been pulled away from the Central Bank of Nigeria, inspected at INEC headquarters Oka, and onward movement to every local government. That is on the 7th of November. Now, from local government, let's pick one local government. Probably we are going to pick your local government, Chisom. If we pick your local government, Ayamelum, we have different towns, communities in Ayamelum, and we know that Anako is the headquarters of Ayamelum local government. So most of these vehicles, they will assemble at Anako at that night with all the polling clerks, polling staff. You have the presiding officer, that is the PO. You have the PC, the polling clerk, and stuff like that. I think every polling unit has at least 2 staff, but there are ones that can have 3. You have presiding officer, the one known as PO. You have the PC, that's the one called polling clerk, that's a 6th, the presiding officer. Sometimes there are 3 persons anyway. But these people definitely they must take roll call at that local government on the 7th of November, and then the local government coordinator of INEC will inspect these materials alongside with his staff, and also take roll call of the ad hoc staff, maybe mostly coppers that have been called upon. Take roll call of the hired vehicles that must have been contracted to convey these materials to different places, and also take inspection of the materials so provided and their functionality, especially the beavers machines.
So you think 7 a.m. is attainable?
I'm saying that it's not all about attainable. I'm just trying to let you know the process involved, and then arrive at the possibility of the time being something feasible or not. So with these things in place, let's assume a vehicle is moving from Anakuto Ifitogware or more, or any of these towns there, and one breaks down along the road.
It means that for the logistics, there has to be plans for backup.
That's what I'm saying. The response time, they usually have backup plan, no doubt. But the issue is the response time.
Isn't that why elections are supposed to start by 8:30? Because he said he's looking at them arriving by 7 o'clock, but the elections start by
They usually leave by 6 a.m.
Sometimes I'll tell you sometimes, because I've also been part of election processes, and sometimes you find out that the tackiness around this entire thing. In my mother was saying, they'll just be running up and down. Things not actually.
So look at the problem. They usually hire rickety vehicles.
That's for vehicles. I'm talking about this, even getting materials together.
No, some of these materials are put together. I don't have a problem with them. The materials putting together, that one is not the issue. The issue is the driver that will start the vehicle in the morning. The vehicle will not start. The driver will change battery. We got higher battery. They must have a standard for the kind of vehicles they want to use. They must have a standard, not rickety. All these buses they usually use from Tretere down to another place. Down
to college.
Yes.
So let me ask you, Tony, how many
Franklin is laughing. I don't know why he's
Nigerian
laughing.
Roads? How many non-rickety vehicles are on Nigerian roads?
We have.
If we go by international best standards, apart from countries like Bangladesh, where their transport system is a total mess.
Let me ask you.
If 70% of what we have on our roads should not be.
Let me say, can they, in a way, call Anambra State is a home of big transporters? You have the likes of, I don't want to call their names. Let it be that I'm advertising them. You have big transporters, and many of them have Sienna buses. And most times, why would we even use rickety bus that has no lights?
Cost?
What do you mean? How much is budgeted for the election?
Okay. So
how much is budgeted? See, can they call 3 or 4 transport companies, and these transport companies work with them? They provide Sienna buses that are going to be used for this election, and they at the same time be on hand. See, let them stop contracting individual person. They go to association or union of bus drivers. You tell them, and then we start calling Koka for Mbechi and all that. That is rubbish. Contract the transport companies that has surnames. These transport companies that have surnames, they provide Sienna buses, give them standard, and by this 7 o'clock they will even be there by 6:45.
All right, thank you, Tony. We need to quickly attend to some commercials, Franklin. When we come back, we round up on this conversation. The biggest matter on our desk this morning is yet to be attended to, speaking about the U.S. president's statements over the weekend. Do stay. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Solution. One man day, a man with the world sabi, a man with Nigerian sabi, a man with Indian Ambra sabi. Now a man of the people. We get compassion, we dey feel the people. Man we trust and we get experience. Man we don't determine to do good for him people. That man now Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR, Oluwatoegu, Odenubuagwata Norumba. He don't change everywhere and everything for Anambra with him helele programs and projects, free education, free antenatal and free delivery services, youth employment yafu, better road network plus urban regeneration, security. Me and my family don't dey close our two eyes dey sleep now. This na the legacy of man we get vision, we carry the survival and progress of him people put for head. No price am. Vote the Soludo Ibesim ticket on November 8, 2025. Vote for continuity and more development. Make the solution continue. Abda Onyaga na one mayor. Vote Okuko.
Your number one quality bread. Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast. Wendy's bread. Upper chicken they do yellow. Wendy's bread. Mama papa they like Wendy's bread. Number one at kitchen they do. Wendy's bread. Even children they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Number one in town. Wendy's bread. We get it better tasty. We go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread. Number one the champion.
Wendy's bread, your number one tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your number one tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Network when them network so bend you network go nyanga na one day network to bebe zero kuko mama foga chipozo mama funa chofu network yera kuga fotuki ola tuga chipozo
Wambo binyaka ebe sere ọkụkọ ka ọlụ atụ egwu rụrụ ọrụ ọma gaba n'iru.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
So President Donald Trump said, and I'll just quote him, Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. Now, he put this in inverted commas and in capital letters, country of particular concern. But that is the least of it. When Christians or any such group is slaughtered like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide, something must be done. I'm asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole in the House Appropriation Committee, to immediately look into the matter and report back to me. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. And this particular statement has evoked a lot of reactions. Right after that, we had the presidency reply, saying that things are not exactly as they are being painted in other parts of the world. Recall this entire thing started a while ago with legislation being moved over there in America concerning the fact that Christians are being killed in Nigeria. They called it a religious killing. They said killings in the country are religiously motivated. People have been asked questions about perceptions on this. Some persons have also questioned the sincerity of purpose behind America's sudden interest. speaking about the fact that President Donald Trump, from all indications, has been someone who's shown tendencies of being racist. And suddenly he's interested in what not just only happens in the black nation, but is declaring the willingness of America to move in and stop what he has called the killing of Christians in Nigeria. So for starters, Tony, I'd like to know what you think about the statement he made. Do you think he's probably been misguided by figures that some persons have called exaggerated? And judging by the fact that Nigeria is a sovereign nation, what is the possibility of America just moving in just like that?
I guess, just like we know very well, US is a world power, no doubt. And it has taken that position since the First World War, because they played a role, and in the Second World War, they could administer the alliance forces. There was a time that US dominance was partly matched by Russia, and they put it to Russia. You know, it was years that severed socialism, communism, as advocated by former Soviet Union, and the Cold War. So it's a superpower, military-wise, number one. And when you talk about military-wise, you're talking about air, land, sea. They're number one. Nuclear armament, they're number one. Forget the insinuations that it is Russia, but they don't want to come out open to tell you their nuclear reserves. They're number one. So the fear of US is the beginning of the wisdom, and then they know very well that they are the superpower, and for them, they cannot allow Christians to be massacred in Nigeria. So now, you talking about the statement made by Donald Trump on Saturday on his Truth Social. I think I was following him. There was a one he made on Friday. There was another one he made either on Saturday night or Monday or Sunday morning, depending on the timing, depending on the time, where he said, "I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist talks attack our cherished Christians. The Nigerian government better move fast." I think it was one of his tweets. I'm just trying to quote him verbatim.
Yes.
And then he went further to say that if the United States sends in military forces, it would, according to him, it would go in guns a-blazing. And many of us who know that very word, guns a-blazing, it means it will be very catastrophic, cataclysmic. That's the meaning of the word guns a-blazing. To completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Now, immediately he made that very statement, it became a serious threat to Nigerian sovereignty and Nigerian nationalities. Yes, a big threat. And one would say, why would US threaten a sovereign nation like Nigeria? Remember, their aid, the US aid for Nigeria, that is foreign assistance obligations for Nigeria in fiscal year 2024, we are about $902.9 million US dollars, approximately $1 billion. The country spent $1 billion in assisting Nigeria, especially in area of HIV, AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, maternal and child health, in humanitarian aid like food assistance, nutrition, internally displaced persons, emergency watch, even water sanitation. They assist Nigerians in most of these areas. Governance, democracy, human rights, strengthening electoral institutions, civil society, justice sector reforms, even security assistance and cooperation. They have sold arms. The Tokona jet they sold to us, I don't know if we have been making use of it. They have also sold different rifles, different war armaments. They have also helped in our basic literacy, education, especially in underserved regions. They are different aches in Nigeria. So they have been supporting us. So when they have a concern, one would ask, why would US all of a sudden from nowhere start talking about Nigeria? Anybody who gives anything becomes a concern to you because you are concerned about I'm giving you this. So
last I checked, President Trump also put a pause on all of those.
No, there are ones he put a pause on. There are ones
most of those.
Yeah, yes, because Nigerian government, I think President Bola Tinubu, immediately that was halted. He approved, I think about how many billion to support what could have come from US that President Trump put a halt on. But that's by the way. Now, when a country is declared a country of a particular concern, a lot of things happen. Nigerian government has spent billions laundering our image, trying to tell investors, partners to come into Nigeria and invest the money.
What are the implications of this statement, President?
One, diplomatic pressure. Because Nigeria will face increased diplomatic scrutiny and pressure from the US. American officials may demand explanations, reforms, and so many things before anything. Second, they may likely give us sanctions, possible sanctions, and that is where Russia is today. That is where Iran is today. That is where most countries that are enemies to the United States of America, they will impose heavy sanctions. One, there will be a lot of restrictions. Trade limitations, they buy our oil so much. In fact, at the point, the last I checked, they were the largest buyer of our oil. Visa bans, we've seen that. Visa restrictions, we've seen that. Freezing of assets of individuals or groups responsible for violations. Many Nigerians have assets in the United States of America. Many politicians, they have a lot. You want me to tell you many politicians I know that have access in the United States of America? Many of them have buildings.
That's not even the point of question, because we know that oftentimes, especially process of corruption, are offsetted through that means. But the question at this point for most Nigerians is, if America has a chance to even help, let's say Nigeria even does ask for this help, what are the implications? What is the cost of this help?
You mean the one if we request for help?
I'm asking a very simple question here. Let's say that at the end of the day, Nigeria and America comes to the table and have an agreement. You know what? Okay, come help us flush out these elements. What is the implication? What is the cost? Because nothing is free in Freetown.
Yes, I want to finish one first before we go to the cost of bringing them in to help us. But then I'm talking about the cost of, or the implication of being declared a country of particular concern. And then I think I've listed issue of possible diplomatic pressure, then the issue of sanctions, and then you also have damage to international image, because we must take it that the United States of America has partners, friends, especially with EU, especially with different countries. They have, once they declare you a country of a particular interest, their partners will no more do business with you. So it is a bad for business. EU, most countries in EU will not do business with you. Most countries in some other regions they belong. You're gonna talk about the blocks they belongs. You have G this, G that, and G. They have different G countries, so they will not do business with you. And the most important thing is that EU and UK may likely follow suit. Most times when US does things like this, you find EU, they will take cues from such designation, and this could lead to coordinated diplomatic and economic measures. So it is important, just like we are told that the president will be going to United States of America to meet the DG Vance, the vice president of the United States of America, to sort out these things. Now you ask the second question. The second question he asks, if we ask them to come in and do this, what will be the implication? The implication will be that they may set up a military base, because it will be an avenue for them to have a military base in Nigeria, and you wouldn't want them to have a military base in Nigeria, because Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and sometimes once they have a military base in your country, they may use it to fight those your country is also in good alliance with. Nigeria is a non-aligned nation. Nigeria does not belong to any group.
Isn't that the safest place for us to be?
That is it. So if Nigeria allows them to come in, they may come in with their conditions. But even if we don't want them to come in, the most important thing, let us do the homework. What United States of America is saying, partly, they are wrong, but partly correct. How do I mean? Where they are wrong is that they exaggerated it, that it is state sponsored. That's exaggeration for me. Where they could be right is where the state, that is the government of the day, has not done so much to stem these killings. And if you keep on arguing that these killings are indiscriminate, what does that mean? That these bandits, these terrorists, they kill anybody they see, not minding the religion. But when you measure it, when you weigh it, Christians are more in number. You can imagine, according to some records and statistics, where you have killed or destroyed about 16,000 churches, and possibly you have about 50-something mosques destroyed. So how do you compare about 16 to 18,000 churches compared to 50-something mosques? So you find out that one is bigger, and it could make one to deduce that that one being bigger is targeted, is orchestrated. But the point is, what is the state doing? How many of these churches have been rebuilt by the government? Because if these people destroy this, then the state government comes in, rebuild these churches, protect them, provide more security. It means that they are doing things that cannot be misjudged or misread to be a total complicit.
Okay, so let me come in with a question here, okay. Because a lot has been said, and just like you highlighted some of the implications of this very declaration of Nigeria as a country of particular interest, maybe too we might be facing the restriction to access to International Monetary Fund and other donor agencies' money.
These are based in US,
and you know that this government depends so much on foreign aid to be able to carry out its responsibilities. Now, I'm going to what we can be possibly doing now. Yesterday, Daniel Bwala talked about the possibility that Mr. President is going to meet with Donald Trump to discuss issues. But if you look at the commentary that have trailed this very development, there are some persons who are calling the bluff of America, saying that America is trying to delve into areas that it is not needed. The likes of Fani Kayode and co. If you listen to likes of former governor of Kano State, talking about the man who leads Kwankwasiya Group, Rabi Kwankwaso, he said, America, if you think that things of this nature is happening in Nigeria, what you can do is to see how you can lend a help to Nigeria, not to talk about invading Nigeria. Now, the question is, what you consider is the best approach that the government of Nigeria, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should adopt to deal with this, knowing that some person said he should engage diplomats for them to talk to America and what have you not. Some said he should work with America, see how he can bring them in to see if they can help us to clean the mess we have when it comes to issue with when it comes to dealing with terrorism and the banditry in this very country. That's number one question. The number two question is, from what we have seen so far, is there a meaning being read into this? Is there a deduction that there could be strained relationship between Trump and the president? The president, ever since he became the president, I'm not sure if he has visited America for any reason known to us or not known to us. So do you think that there is a possibility that because he seems not to have good record in America, that's why America is reacting this very way? And the third question is America thinking through about what the president said that they are going to move into Nigeria, knowing that in countries where they have moved in, it has not been well with them? Mention Libya, mention Afghanistan, mention Iraq, where they unilaterally moved in without being invited to come over.
I think if I'm to take your question one after the other, first, if you can remind me the first one, because I was actually trying to take on this last one before the first one came. But
first one is the approach the government of Nigeria should adopt in dealing with this issue we have at hand now, knowing the implications of not doing anything.
The approach the Nigerian government should adopt at this point will be a concerted approach. Concerted approach, not in words, not in rhetorics, but in action. Yes, they have commenced conversation, no doubt. The conversation is ongoing. I listened to Bayo Nonoga where he said that President Tinubu is far above the orchestrated plans going on in United States of America. What does that mean? Probably that they have commenced engagement, they have commenced talks and conversations, but it will not end in talks and conversations. Nigerian government, let me say this, paid for American team to come and find things themselves here in Nigeria. And that team was led by Mike Arnold, former mayor of Blanco, Texas, and Louis Luke. They conducted field research across Nigeria over about 5 years, including in the North and Middle Belt regions. And their conclusion: the violence, mass displacements of Christian communities, destruction of Christian homes and churches, according to them, meets every definition of genocide under international law. We are told that these people came to Nigeria, and remember, this did not start today. It did not start under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That these people conducted their research. America, before now, had these thoughts, this concern about Nigeria, and Nigerian government had deflated it in the past, to the point, according to report, paid for American team come into Nigeria and make their own findings, be the first to know, not first-hand findings. And we are told that this team was led by Mike Arnold, and they concluded in their conclusion that what they saw meets every definition of genocide under international law. They cited burning of Christian homes, churches, while mosques were reportedly left intact, according to them. Mass displacement of Christians, a pattern of targeted destruction of Christian identity and communities. And the mission claimed the Nigerian government helped facilitated their visit, that is, paying for their visit, covering travel, accommodation, but the team insisted they maintained independence and were not influenced in their conclusions. They issued at that time urgent calls to the Nigerian government to take serious action, including on religious freedom, recovery of occupied lands, and hold the campaign of violence. And I must let you know that there were other related data and reports. According to data from the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, usually called ACLED, between January 2020 and September 2025, this 5-year period in Nigeria, there were about 20,409 deaths from 11,862 attacks against civilians. Of those, 385 attacks identified Christian identity of victim as reported factor. So it tells quite a lot. I am aware that Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and government officials strongly refuted that Christians are being specifically targeted on religious basis, and they say any narrative giving the violence a simple religious motivation is erroneous and misleading. That's what they told us. But the truth remains that Nigerian government have begun conversation. Just like I said, action speaks louder than words. Most of the churches burned down. Were there any effort to rebuild them? Most times things could happen, no doubt. But when that must have happened, what was the response of government, especially bringing justice? How many of these people who have done this have been arrested, prosecuted, brought to law?
We are still not even
remember what happened. Remember what happened in Iwo. Can you remember that time, Franklin?
Is it Iwo or
Owo? Sorry, Owo.
Or the church shooting.
The church shooting, where they came and shot people. People were killed. And the one thing is, we didn't hear much about that again.
Well, some persons were arrested.
Yeah, we didn't hear much about it. How many people have been prosecuted as a result of that till date? Arrest is just common. What is important is prosecution and conviction. But that's by the way.
I think their trial began this very year. That should be about 2 months ago. But the thing is that we talked about how long it took for the prosecution to start.
And then apart from that,
I think about 2 months.
Apart from that, most churches have been burned down in southern Kaduna. That is the part of Kaduna. How many of these churches have been rebuilt? And we've seen them during the time of El-Rufai.
Yeah, 5 people. So the arraignment of 5 people started August this year.
And you can imagine when that happened.
Happened in 2022.
And that tells you a lot. So the issue here is this. I don't want to agree that Nigerian government is in total complicity to these things. I don't want to agree that. American has been citing that, but they are citing it, saying that there is what we call in Igbo language, that if you keep quiet why these things happen, there is no other way to tell us that you are in total complicit.
We understand that.
So that's their point. But
that's logical. Man, like you said, it was also tell you now what for also looking at countries where America has stepped in at one point or the other and how they are faring. Are you not sort of skeptical about this?
I'm worried. And I was actually looking at Femi Fani-Kayode yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? He was saying, let America come. We are going to defend our country. We are going to show them that this is Nigeria.
We are going to leave the matter at hand. We are on one side being plagued by these killer terrorists. Over here in the east, we're having the secessionists and the kidnappers and all sorts of things being perpetrated. As much as here it is the momentum is dying down, we're starting to differentiate between the perpetrators and motive. Of course, they've been camouflaging with the whole there is a secession championing group, and criminals have been making claims and then using the whole thing to masquerade. We understand that, and it is reducing. But instead of now facing our problems, likes of FM Fani-Kayode, we are going to face them. Hello, with what exactly? When we don't have weapons that are sophisticated enough to face terrorists.
And you are going to face
American.
Hold on, you are going to face the country you are buying your weapons from.
Make it make sense.
You are going to face a country you've been begging. They will tell you about Lehi law that will not allow them to sell their weapons based on human rights violations. You are going to face a country that is number one when it comes to area, surface, and then air war. You are going to face a country that is with a global combat experience that can face entire Africa. The US can face entire Africa without any form of resistance. I'm telling you this. US can face entire Africa without any significant form of resistance. So when I say talk is cheap, talk is definitely cheap. You see, a country that spent $800 billion in their budget for defense. Do you know what it means for you to spend $800 billion? Our GDP is less than 200. And the country is spending in 2024. I'm just trying to let you know. In 2024. So when Kifemi Kayode was making such statements, Nigerians blasted him.
The place of America is not a disputed one. Everybody knows they are not world power for nothing, right? The question that most people are asking at this point is, what is the way out?
The way out is...
He said Nigerian government move fast. What is the way out? Quickly.
The meeting between the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GSFR, with the vice president of US is...
We're not, he's not going to the
Anthony,
US.
I just got a report that it's coming for the same president saying that report is not true, that President Tinubu is not going to US to go and meet anybody. So I don't know who is playing who, or what's happening now.
Daniel Buala was the one that made that very statement, but he didn't tell us where the meeting would be.
No, he said it could be in Nigeria or in the US.
There's no way to be in Nigeria. I think what Daniel Buala was saying,
that's what he said.
Franklin,
maybe he was just gerrymandering.
Frankly, permit me to admit at this point that Daniel Buala was dreaming, talking. He was, talking while dreaming, or dreaming while talking.
Really?
So either of the two. So from now on, understand, you must not talk on everything that the media.
So if you don't round up on this, because PDP had
very
issues over the weekend, right? So what's the way out? What do you think we should be doing at this point?
About PDP?
No, I mean about the whole threat from the American.
I think what we need to do, if you look at it, it's not about living in denial. You keep denying. US, the president has instructed the War Department to take certain steps, and they're serious about this. They are serious.
Well, should Nigeria
and
be
if they come into Nigeria, if they invade Nigeria, I don't want to tell you what will happen. A lot will happen. So what Nigerian government needs to do, Nigeria will send a team of delegation. I think I've heard a report that National Assembly, led by Akpabio, will be sending delegation of Nigerian senators, House of Representative members to meet US Congress, because this thing started from Ted Cruz, a congressman. Remember we said it the other day here. So to meet US Congress,
so delegation to the US Congress,
definitely. After that, this delegation will see how they may not meet Trump, they may not meet Vice President, but they may likely meet the Secretary of State. And also, but that is just on the surface.
You're talking deliberations, conversations.
Yes, but outside deliberation and conversation, because you are going there to assure them that this is this and this is not this.
What
and
do
you are
do
going
at
to
home?
Coming to the home front here. We must look into our laws. Like Nigerian legislators, they have been called to act. We must start making laws that will protect Christians, and this law would be sounded internationally with intent and purpose. We must start making laws that will protect, because Christians are now the primary concern. Forget all these that we are a religious country. Section 10 says that Nigeria shall not adopt any religion, but we have Sharia law operating alongside with the constitution. So many people have issues along these lines. You can't say that we are not a religious country and you allow religion to have a root in our constitution. It's a problem. So on the home front, make laws, and at the same time see to the protection of Christians, minorities in the north. Their schools, churches, the ones that have been burned down. Nigerian government should make serious demonstration to commit to rebuilding them, and the restitution, prosecuting those who have been found wanting in most of these killings, and bring them to limelight. These are some of the things we can do.
Let's quickly attend to some commercials. When we come back, we'll take more of the talk. Franklin, I know you want to say something, but let's take that, please, after this commercial break. Do stay.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You can find us here we come.
Vote John Chuma Nwosu of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) as the next governor of Anambra State.
Ape Omeliada, the great community leader. Your provision of land for empowerment of communities is now a reality. The Community Empowerment Opportunity CEO program by Kalfa Investments Nigeria Limited, supported by Anambra State government, is here. The general public are hereby invited to the formal inauguration of Anambra Cooperative Farm City project on Tuesday, 4th November 2025. Time 10 a.m. Venue the Ihuke land of Ape Ikem Ifite Nando, Anambra East local government area of Anambra State. Come and partake in this divine blessing which God reserved for his children. Announcers: Ifesinachi Anthony Ibeneme Ezechichiri, Managing Director, Chief Executive, Kalfa Investments Nigeria Limited. Pastor Gabriel Ape, Chairman, Ape Family Descendants Association. Supported by Anambra State Ministry of Agriculture, Anambra State Ministry of Industry, Anambra State Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Entertainment.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Franklin, before we went on that break, you wanted to say something.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about a couple of things, because it's quite unfortunate that it takes America to wake us up to our reality. Reality in the sense that, we've been with all these killings all this while, and government all the time, not just government of the day, successive governments have all looked away from different kinds of shenanigans we have seen, especially those kind of persecutions or killings that are linked to religion. Take, for instance, in this very country, we know that some persons have been stoned to death on account of blasphemy. Some persons have been, killed on account of Sharia law, what have you not. We know the story of Deborah, who was killed then on account of blasphemy. The question then was, what did government of the day do to ensure that justice was served in that very case? Because now everybody's talking about it. I think he's talking about it. One was talking about it, but it's in the same country that we witnessed killing of Deborah. Atiku made a tweet, which he later pulled down because he was afraid of the consequence he might get politically, and he was rented then. What am I saying in essence? It's not just one government. We have had successive governments who have failed to do what they're supposed to do, and now we are having the repercussion. I'm just hoping that the government of the day should be able to do what they do, should be able to do what they're supposed to do. Because one is, I think what they should be doing is to engage America. When you engage America, present the fact you have to buttress the fact that what has been happening in the country is not a genocide against Christians. Put that in this very record so that they get to see. And at the same time, too, there is need for engagement. As we speak now, Nigeria doesn't have any ambassador to America, to the US. There's no ambassador to the US. So if they want to speak to the US now, what is the channel through which they're going to do that? In that very case, we have to spend money to engage maybe international lobbyists for them to, get involved in this kind of conversation. So beyond whatever we might need to do now, there is need for us to become proactive when it comes to dealing with issues like this. And on the other hand too, I don't know what is going to be. It's going to be disastrous if America is going to strike in Nigeria the way they did in Afghanistan, because America said they might deploy airstrike. If they're going to do such on their own without Nigeria saying, okay, come, let's do this together, it's going to impede on our sovereignty, and the consequences might be severe. So what they might do now is engage. If there's an area they might need assistance from the US, let them talk, put things on the table, have an agreement, and see how they can do that. Because whether we need assistance to help us flush out banditry and terrorism, we need that, but it should be based on discussions and based on our own terms and the conditions. All right,
and we're going to open up the phone lines right about now. I'm sorry we're eating into audience time, but Tony, PDP Damagum versus Anyanwu faction, suspensions here, suspensions there. Quickly, what do you make of that?
PDP has gone down. The burial right is what is going on now.
All right, then.
That's burial right.
0803221 697308038276694. We do this 1 minute each. Go straight to the point. Let's not waste time on pleasantries. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I'm at something.
Something, please go ahead. We are totally out of time, so you might want to use your time judiciously.
Okay. I know how long it took America to capture Bin Laden. I know how long it took them to fight even the terrorism that threatened the existence of America. Let us not come here and pretend like America is the principal of the whole world. Anytime they step into any place, they must create peace and go back. What happened to Afghanistan? What was the allegation against the president of Afghanistan then? What happened to Iran? What happened to Iraq? What happened to Gaddafi? What are we saying? This is the time we are supposed to actually come together and defend the country, not to tell America to come when we know what they are actually targeting. Have there ever been any year they carried out this kind of intervention? And anytime they want to carry it out, they will tell you that just swift, that swift will take years because they are targeting your mineral resources. It's an American country that recorded over 40,000 deaths in 2023 is not telling us what our problem is. Like we don't have our own local solution. And somebody is sitting down there and analyzing as if it's not a Nigerian. I think if they come here, you will still have the opportunity to sit down there and analyze. When are we going to start defending this country for crying out loud? Why are we being so selfish sometimes? As if this country has not done anything for anybody. It's unfair. In his own village in Otu, I know St. Mary that has been deserted. St. Mary is a Catholic church and it's a parish. It has been deserted. Who are the people that made that church to desert? Is it Christians is it Muslims that are killing them there? Is it not Christians that are killing them? So America just took up one morning now, suddenly realize that there is genocide in Nigeria. and they want to come in. Let them come in. Let him come in. Whatever he wants.
All
to
right.
let him come and
Your point is clear. You think the American do I call it invasion now? you are calling for it. Oh yeah, boss or what? I won't say that other one. Hello there. Good morning.
My name is Batmos. I'm calling from Unewu.
Go ahead, please.
Good. Let me go straight to the point. The issue of USA. Let me go back to 2012, 2011, when Goodluck Jonathan was running around begging the United States government, please come and help us. The United government then, Barack Obama, who is a Christian, did not come. The government of Goodluck Jonathan then compiled videos and evidences on how Chibok girls, which dominated by Christians, how they were kidnapped and all, many people that were killed, churches burned down. The United States government did nothing. So it is now that...
Are you there? Hello?
Yeah. So it is now that the United States government know that Christians are being killed. Let me tell you, Christians that are killed under Muhammadu Buhari administration is tenfold. Even as we are talking to, the security situation in Nigeria is improving. So what are they coming to do? When we needed them more during Buhari and Goodluck Jonathan administration, they did not come. Now that we are handling our situation, trying to curtail on certain things, they are not trying to come. They are now telling us Christians are being killed. All these things they are saying now is the ones that happened under Muhammadu Buhari. That's the ones they want to bring on and use it to tarnish the image of Tinubu. They should tell us what they want. Because I don't know. I don't know what is wrong with these guys. You cannot bring an outdated record. What happened in 2023 or 2019, and we are trying.
Okay. 0803-221-6973, Good morning. We can barely hear you. Your voice is a bit muffled. Could you please move around? Yes, we can now. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning to you. Happy New Month.
Happy New Month to you too. Please, let's go straight to the point.
Okay, my regards to
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think what Mr. President Trump says I think he's right. Do you know how many people that have been killed in the Benue State and the Plateau State, even Southern Kaduna? All this while, although our security personnel have been trying, there are some people, saboteurs among them. Even at times they will hold these terrorists, and unless I will hear that they are granted pardon, and they take them into the military. My brother, what we are talking about is human life. Human life. It is not good. Even ghosts have even in London. If you will not beat your cat. Ordinary cat, so you will not beat your cat anyhow. So if Mr. Trump want to help Nigeria, my brother, let him come. I beg, our government has failed us. After all these kind of take one certain time that what is happening in Nigeria is being politicized, or what that's some kind of elements that are sponsoring those people that are terrorizing the people. So please, Mr. Trump, I want you to come, American government to come and help Nigerians and save lives here in Nigeria. That's what I want to say this morning.
All right, your point has been noted. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. We're live on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. It's quite unfortunate because some people are in a corridor, in a safe vehicle, in a safe kind of place. They don't know what other people are. And people will have a kind of, what I call it now, come up on the air and begin to defend that immorality, that genocide, ethnic stroke, religious cleansing in the north. The years why Donald Trump is a Christian. And then Barack Obama is an antichrist. So you don't use you don't compare it to Donald Trump is a Christian and is concerned with what is going to be. Please, if Donald Trump can help me, my father, please, come to my age. We are gone in this place. Christians are please drink stop. They should come. So not because we're start to school, we are about to do everything. After we come back to our country, we go up again. No, what this people are passing through there is satanic anyway. So make sure if you don't put us on air, just stay calm. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you for your contribution. We take a few more calls and head over to Facebook to see what you have to say. Like Franklin would always implore you, please make your comments readable. Good morning.
My name is Comrade Walton. I'm calling you from Onitsha. Can I go on?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. You see, if what Trump is doing, whether you like him or not, if what he is doing is the only way he can bring focus and the consolation, the people whom their relatives have been killed, let it be. This is not the time to whip up unnecessary testimony like Fanika and all of them. This is not the time. You see, he is not smiling. That Trump is not smiling. And we cannot take the fact that Christians are not being killed. In fact, Christians are endangered in this country. All those Muslim people that they were killing in the north, they are the people who disagree with them. The point is this: who are the people doing it? They are Islamic radicals. And the Nigerian government, over time, have not shown any commitment. What Tinubu is interested is in turning Nigeria to a one-party state, forcing governors using the federal might and all government institutions to correct governors into joining him in APC. Today, the governor of Bayelsa State joined APC. You want to turn everybody, you want to turn this country into one state, ignoring the killings. So nobody should blame Trump for whatever he's doing. That is being hypocritical or whatever. The point is this: the people who are killing people in this country, both Christians and Muslims, are Islamic radicals, and they must be dealt with. Before I round up, so Olisa Mbeki, I want to ask you a question. When you talk about what the governor said, the clarifications the governor gave, with regard to the statement he made in the past, it is well understood. But let me ask you, what about intent for which you made that comment? The intent you told us the other time about a white people candidate saying that it is good to make the electoral law so that the governor will step down 2 months before the election. What about that intent you explained to us that time? What was the intent for governor to make that statement? Thank you very much.
All right, then. And we're heading over to Facebook now. Tony, would you want to respond to that yet?
Maybe. I think I got the question. He was asking about the intent. Remember when the YPP candidate made that very petition? I was looking at the national chairman of YPP made the petition against, level playing field where people will step down and then 2 months to the election, everybody will have equal advantage. And then I said it was bad timing, that the intent was just to protect his own party going into the election. And then he asked, what about the intent, the promise made by the governor to the world executive? The intent, you asked me, could be summarized to be for either winning the election, mobilizing, canvassing for these voters to vote for his own party. It could be the intent. And remember, canvassers, political canvassers are paid, but canvassers don't use money to canvass. Remember this: canvassers may be paid to tell people vote for our party, but the canvassers going around to tell people to vote for our party will not use money to tell those people to vote for our party.
You mean to say they won't give them money?
Yes, you can give canvassers money, you can pay them,
but canvassers don't give money
to the people that are telling to vote for the party. You have political canvassers.
Ideally, or they do not in every circumstance.
No, I'm saying ideally. They are not supposed, but you pay canvassers. You can announce money, prize money for canvassers. The intent is for them to canvass for people to vote for your party. You can pay them money. It could be members of your party. in that very structure as canvassers. You can even announce prize money for anybody that made a good, canvas and where people vote for the party. It is legitimate, but what it is illegitimate is where the canvassers go to the voters with money. It is inducement. Giving canvassers money, no inducement. Canvassers giving money, pure inducement. So canvassers are paid anywhere in the world to ask voters to vote for their party. I think that's the clarification. What's the intent? The intent is for the party to win.
Let's head over to
Facebook.
Now.
So, Dr. Mrs. Mwalabra from Owerri says, insecurity is man's worst enemy. Any government that cannot live up to its basic responsibility of protecting lives and property is a failure. Nigeria is not at war, yet its citizens are slaughtered daily in their homes, farms, and markets and churches. Some communities have been wiped out and millions fled their homes to IDP, surviving without sufficient food, water, and Medicare. Instead of dealing with terrorists, they are pampered, rehabilitated, and integrated into the forces. We commend the recent warning and concerns of President Trump for recognizing what we are passing through. Sorry, let me announce this before time. Please, some of your messages, I'm going to cut them short because of time, so that we'll be able to accommodate, I have 17 messages to read. Rotaract Obia Wike Christopher from College of Education in Suba, he says, okay, what Soludo is saying on vote buying is damage control. I have issues at the place the statement was made. Party have their platform, so why saying it at campaign ground? And he goes on to say, according to the governor, the statement was made to solve issues of apathy. Then I ask, are we supposed to have apathy within the party members or the voters? Let the truth be told. Then Ichie Billion says Jonathan's administration, or rather during Goodluck Jonathan's administration, Nigeria government begged the US to help in the fight against Boko Haram terrorists, but they declined and yanked him off. During that time, Nigeria was a slaughterhouse for Christians, mostly in the north. Fast forward to Muhammad Buhari's regime, the USA under Trump did nothing. Hundreds of thousands of Christians were killed by Boko Haram, ISWAP bandits, terrorists under Buhari government. Now that Uncle Tinubu is doing well in security, the US wants to be a stumbling block. We are all aware that security situation has improved immensely under the government of President Bola Tinubu. And then Norbert Uchokoye says, all right, I'm sorry, I'm not going to read out your message the way you did it, but thank you for expressing your concern. Then Godswill Okoye says, U.S. President Donald Trump's invasion in Nigeria against terrorists is a welcome development and must be encouraged. The killings in the north are becoming too much, and Nigerian politics... Okay, I think that should be... And Nigerian politicians do not care. Instead, they are romancing and negotiating with their bandits.
Cut it there.
Yeah, just hold on. Then Basil Ugu, the smart... Amadioha TV, Toby Payo, Ugochukwu Frank, Okoyang Leka, Masi Chidi Nelson, Kingsley Wabreze, the YC, Ugochukwu Ndeli, Odi, August Nemeka, SM Kasi, and all every other person. Thank you for dropping your comment on our Facebook page.
All right, then, gentlemen, we are totally out of time. Tony, your last word in 30 seconds.
I think someone was actually saying that when Jonathan was in power, he publicly begged UX for assistance or support. It depends on the kind of support he was actually begging. He was actually telling them to support us in area of military assistance, including arms and intelligence sharing. That was during Barack Obama, and then that was correct. But they invented Lehi law to deny selling to Nigeria what we call silver bullets. The word silver bullet means advanced weaponry. Silver bullets. They did not sell silver bullets, but what they did was to give us some kind of $48 million in equipment and training by 2015 rather. So that when this thing was actually burgeoning, there was a clear message sent to the UX to come and help us in area of silver bullets. But they did not. They cited their Lehilo, and now it has degenerated into what we have today, and they have concerns. And the point
for
is,
someone who often speaks about political will, would you really blame them or us for not having the political will to take care of things back home?
I guess it is give and take. Everything in life is give and take.
Franklin, thank you, Tony. By the way, that was a wonderful time.
Badmus made a suggestion. He made a veiled suggestion, which many people did not read it. He's suggesting that it seems that the US has an axe to grind with the president, Bola Tinubu. That's number one. Then, for us to wrap up this very conversation, I think we should find a way to leave this conversation about what Governor of Anambra State did by that very promise. You know why? Because the more we talk about this,
it's taking more time.
The more open other thing.
Why
am I saying this?
Okay.
If you give Kamasa some money to go and work, they in turn can as well promise the voters money. If you vote for us, I'm going to give you part of my largesse.
He said the money is coming later.
So it goes in circles. Of course, all of us are going to work in hope the money is going to come.
All right.
I'm not talking about Salute. I'm talking about Trump again. You know what is actually going on.
You're going to get me sanctioned.
But it's important for us to know that if what happened in Plateau State and possibly Benue State, if these things were averted by now, I will stand here to tell US, please hold your guns. Don't even come here. But why would what happened in Plateau and Benue State this year?
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. It was quite an insightful time with you two. The Smart, I am really grateful that you listened. He said, I want to thank you guys for your good works and also to inform you people that I have gotten my voter card. That's like the biggest gain of what we do here. When you listen, you put it actually in practice. Thank you for your calls and your contribution. Today, the Polity will make a return tomorrow, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Until then, please do your bit to get the Nigeria that you and I desire. Until then, I am Chisom Chinedu. Good morning.
Before the bridges came,